friends, it's Melanie, and today's video is the next installment in my freezer cooking series. And in today's video, I am going to show you what I like to refer to as meal components. Basically, what that is it's not a full meal that I have put together and then put in my freezer, and then, you know, those obviously you pull back out at a later time and you cook them and they're ready to go. Meal components, in my opinion, are just the pieces of a meal that you can have ready to go. Pull those out of the freezer and it just kind of saves you one step in your meal preparation. So the things that I'm going to show you today are things like what I call Italian meat. Basically it's ground meat that I would use in an Italian dish. I'm also going to show you my taco meat. Other meal component things are things like diced cooked chicken. When I make dried beans, you know, like you make beans from dried beans instead of buying them in a can. What else? Any type of preparation that I can do with food that I can then just throw in the freezer and then pull it back out when I need it. To me, that is considered a meal component. It's not going to be a full meal on its own, but it will save you time and, you know, energy from having to do it on the day that you want to use it. All you have to do is pull out, let it defrost, and you're good to go. So that's what today's video is going to cover. I also wanted to go ahead and let you guys know, I probably should have told you this in my very first video, but I don't think that it occurred to me. I am not currently doing a freezer cooking for an entire month. That's not what I'm doing right now. I'm not in a season in my life where I need to have a full month's worth of meals in my freezer that I can pull out. I enjoy cooking. It's very therapeutic and relaxing to me. So most nights I look forward to going in the kitchen and putting together a meal for my family. It's a creative outlet for me. I enjoy preparing something that I can then give to my family, and if it's well received, then I feel satisfied. I feel, you know, like it was a success. I look forward to that time, but I am human and I have bad days and we have rough days here at home, and there are days that I'm like, oh, I don't want to cook, and takeout is not really an option so much in the area where I live. Nobody delivers to my house. And so even if I want to like order pizza, I have to drive 15 minutes into town to go get it. And then I have to drive 15 minutes all the way back home. And by the time I do both of those, I could have just made a meal. So takeout is really not something that we do a whole lot. We do it occasionally, but not very often. And so there are nights when I just want to pull something out of the freezer and stick it in the oven and say I'm done. Those are the nights that I am freezer cooking for, because I know that in the month of October we have a lot going on, and there are going to be several nights that I'm not gonna be able to, you know, have the time to cook from scratch and make dinner. So I'm doing preparation. I'm making preparations now so that I have food to feed my family on those nights. So I am looking. What I think that I'm going to do is have about 6 to 10 meals completely prepped and in my freezer, and then I'll have my meal components that I can use if need be. So I'm not going to be doing, like I said, I'm not doing 30 meals. That's not what I'm doing. I'm hoping that through this series I can just give you guys some tips, some inspiration, maybe some helpful ideas on things that you can freeze that maybe you didn't know you could freeze. You know, maybe a couple recipe ideas along the way. I don't know. I just know that freezer cooking to me is a way to save money and save time. And I think that if you're a mom or a dad, or even if you're neither of those, who doesn't want to save money and time? So that's why I originally wanted to share this with you guys, and I hope that you guys are able to glean some information from it. I hope that it's helpful in some way, and I hope that you enjoy watching. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with today's video. I did film this the day before yesterday is when I did all of this cooking. So I'm going to get started. I hope you guys enjoy, and thank you so much for watching. Okay guys, so the first meal component that I'm going to be working on today is ground meat for any type of Italian dish that I'm going to make, like spaghetti, baked ziti, lasagna, anything like that. And then I'm also going to be browning up some ground meat for tacos, and I'll add my homemade taco seasoning to that. And then the other thing that I'm going to be working on at the same time is I'm going to be making some homemade cream of mushroom soup. I've never made that one before, so it's going to be new to me. We'll kind of see how it goes. But for the others, I have just some mild Italian sausage, and I have some ground beef here that I'm going to start in this pan while I clean my mushrooms and get those chopping. And also I need to start just kind of making a basic roux in this pot. So I will get all of that started, and you guys are going to come along and kind of see, you know, how easy this is just to prepare some basic meal components that you can keep in your freezer. guys can see, I have at least 2 servings of taco meat here. This is just plain ground beef with my homemade taco seasoning, and I will leave my recipe down in the description box below. It's pretty simple, really simple actually, but of course it can be adjusted to fit your family's tastes. My family, well, specifically my husband, does not like spicy food, and so this taco seasoning is extremely mild. But we have that, and that is all finished. I'm going to wait for that to cool, and then I will package that up for the freezer. And then in this one, I actually am really pleased with how this turned out. This is my homemade cream of mushroom soup. And as you can see that there's big chunks of mushrooms in here, and it's really creamy, but it's thick. It has really good flavor. It's not really very salty, which is one of the things that I find is a problem with the canned cream of mushroom soup. It's really super salty, I think. So I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I think that this was really easy, and I don't really know for sure how many servings this is going to make. I will let you guys know once it completely cools down and I'm able to, you know, transfer it to freezer bags. But I'm going to, portion this out basically in the same measurements that you would get a can from the store. That way, if I have a recipe that calls for a can of cream of mushroom soup, I'll know that I have the right amount. But I think that that turned out really well. And this also, I am happy to leave the instructions or the recipe for you guys. If you would like me to do a specific video just on this, let me know. But it's really simple. I'm happy to do it for you if you want the next time I make it. But if this is something that you'd be interested in making, I think it's a really good idea. It turned out really well. And then the last thing over here in this big bowl is my ground beef and mild Italian sausage mixture. And I'm not going to add any kind of sauce to this just yet, because I feel like adding the sauce, you know, is so simple anyway, and you're gonna warm this up. Why not just heat it up in the sauce when you know, are ready to use it? So this, it kind of all looks like ground beef, but I promise you that there is Italian sausage in here, Italian sausage and ground beef, and this is what I really like to use whenever I make any kind of Italian type of meal, just because I feel like it gives it that extra something that's a little bit, you know, better than just plain ground meat. So this, these 3 things are the 3 things that I cooked during this particular cooking session. It took me about 40 minutes, start to finish. And I mean, if I hadn't had to cook the ground beef and the sausage separately, that time would have been way less. But I wanted to use just this one green pot, so I had to cook the sausage first and then clean it and then do the ground beef. So otherwise it wouldn't have taken me quite so long. So that is everything that I cooked during this particular session. And then as you can see, I'll pan over here so you guys can see, I've got a little bit of a mess going on here in my sink, but that's pretty much it. I mean, I've got 2 pans or 2 pots that I cooked in that I'm gonna have to clean, 2 strainers. Not a terribly big mess. I definitely can make a much bigger mess when I do freezer cooking, so this isn't too bad at all. So that is what I made today. I am going to show you guys a couple more things that I like to keep in my freezer, and that will be coming up. Okay, so this is what I was able to get done today. I got 2 servings of taco meat, and that's pretty good because sometimes we like to use different kinds of meat for our tacos, so those will last us a little while. And then I got 3 servings of Italian meat. Basically, like I said, I'll use this in spaghetti, lasagna, baked ziti, that type of thing. And that's a pretty good little serving size. That's actually over a pound of meat. So I got those, and then I have 4 of the 10 to 12 ounce servings of cream of mushroom soup. So I will stick those in the freezer, and what I'll do is I will lay them in the freezer flat like this until they freeze, and then they will I'll stand them up, and that way it takes up less room in my freezer. So I have 4 of those, And then I did not do this today, but I was just going to show you guys. This is it's so simple. I don't think I'm going to do a video on this. All I did was take some chicken breast and I seasoned it with salt and pepper and a little bit of olive oil on a baking sheet and stuck it in the oven and cooked it. I would say that I probably did about 6 or 8 chicken breasts, and then I just diced them once they were cooked. And I stick them in these freezer bags and just write diced chicken on it. And then whenever I need this for a meal, then it's already cooked. I can just pull it out. We can use it on salads or in a casserole or anything like that. So that is just one other meat that I like to have in my freezer. So that is going to be it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be back with more freezer cooking videos very soon.